good blessed Friday, November the 25th, 2022. Time being about 4:55 a.m. in the morning. I greet all you human beings all around the world with the universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. Doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor your religious beliefs may be. Doesn't matter whether you the richest to the poorest person on the face of this earth. Doesn't matter whether you the proclaimed toughest to the proclaimed weakest person on the face of this earth. Doesn't matter if you my family, friends, nor my proclaimed enemies. It doesn't matter whether you like me or anything that I produce on social internet. Whether you like it or not, that's your prerogative. You have a first, 14th, 5th. You have so many different amendments to the United States Constitution that afford you those rights. I know that there's people that don't like what I put up. I look at some of the comments, and I encourage some of you all that follow my YouTube to look at some of the comments that's made on here, especially when I talk about racism, talk about the real history of Christopher Columbus, talk about the real history of Thanksgiving, talk about blacks as using blacks. You can see it hurt them when I talk about corrupted law enforcement officials. You can see the truth hurt. All you have to do is listen to their comments. And I invite them to upload their truth on their YouTube. But anyway, what I want to talk about today is know who your friends are. Everybody that said that they're your friends are not necessarily your friends. Sometimes it's people that envy you, want to be you instead of being themselves. Sometimes people befriend you just to try to hurt you, even sometimes to take your life. Shanquilla Robinson, may she rest in peace. I believe the young 25-year-old female who went to some part of Mexico on the 28th of October of 2022 with some people that she thought was friends. It wasn't a good 24 hours, if that, her life was taken. And all of her friends fled back to the States. I'm showing you 3 individuals here that's really close to me. One is my oldest brother, may he rest in peace. One is my oldest child, oldest son, may he rest in peace. One is my ex-wife, my 2 youngest daughter, Bertie and Queen Ivy's mother. They had individuals that they called friends. All 3 of them that you see on this picture, my brother in the middle, both of the pictures, left to right. My son to the right, all the pictures from the top, the middle, and the bottom is him. My 2 daughters, Bertie and Queen Ramona's mother, my ex-wife, to the left, and then with the wedding dress on in the bottom middle. All 3 of them trusted individuals they called friends. On August the 3rd, August the 3rd, 1977, my oldest brother, he trusted some individuals that we grew up in Cabrini Green with. He hadn't been there in a while. But when he came back on the scene, he doing what I'm doing now, trying to bring unity back in our community. After making his mistakes and correcting them, he wants to try to bring it back to the neighborhood. Anybody know him? He was a boxer, a force on his own, not to be reckoned with. He got into an encounter with a young guy that when we left, he really didn't have a name in the community. But people looked up to him as if he was a leader in the community, the individual that my brother got into it with. He was supposedly be running a gang in the neighborhood. We grew up in the row houses, but we in Cabrini Green in Chicago near the North Side. For the last few years, we moved to 624 West Division, what's called the White Projects. But we always stayed down in the row houses. We hung in the row houses. But anyway, my brother went head up with this individual that was going around terrorizing the neighborhood because people were scared of him. And when I was coming up, that ain't what we was doing, making people scared of us. We protected our community. And my brother, even though we wasn't living in the row house anymore, but when he came back on the scene, he went down there, and people in the row houses showing him an individual that came from the projects that was terrorizing the row houses. My brother went head up with him. No weapons. No more than his hands. Whooped him in a head-up fight. Some so-called friends told my brother, let's go back down there and mend things. I wasn't on the scene. I was in prison at the time. But my two younger brothers, may they rest in peace, they told him, don't go down there because they're going to try to set you up. He told him he can handle himself. They asked him to take a gun with him. He didn't want to take a gun with him. He didn't know that they wasn't playing it fair. He went down there. Those that called themselves his friends, they set him up. He got shot 4 times in the back, 1 time in the back of the head. May he rest in peace. But God been dealing with them. Those that took his life and those that, some of them that set him up. Street justice caught up with some of them. My son, he thought the police in Carbondale, Illinois, he thought some individuals in Carbondale, Illinois, that called themselves his friends. But he was found hung March the 19th, 2021. Lynched. Wallet missing. White female had it. So-called friend. A black individual called himself a Muslim, married to a white school teacher that works in the Carbondale, Illinois Rebound High School. They called themselves his friend. They took advantage of his drug addiction and had his food stamps card, claiming that they was giving him money. But 39 days after his death, they were still spending his money. 2 months of spending his money, and he was dead. But yet, they didn't give him anything. They was his friends, they claimed. He got 814 people on his Facebook page that claim they're friends. Ain't none of them but one, a white female, been trying to help me get justice for my son. It was a homicide. It wasn't a suicide like the authorities said. The authorities is covering it up. You see, one thing about it, I'm a diehard. I don't have any habits. My son and my brother, they trusted some individuals they called friends. Shaquilla Robinson trusted some people they called friends. My ex-wife, may she rest in peace. My daughter, Queen and Birdie Ivy's mother, she trusted some individuals she called friends. Every time we got her back down here and cleaned her up, those so-called friends took her back to the things that made her downfall. She was found dead in her apartment. The individual she was dealing with, a jealous individual, guess what? He claimed He was too hurt to come to her funeral, and it was right there in Griffin, Indiana. We traveled all the way from Charleston, Missouri to Griffin, Indiana. My homie Dwight Taylor traveled from up one part of Indiana, and he was there. My cousin Tina W. Traveled from the northwest suburbs, and she was there. My homie JB, he traveled from Chicago. He was there. My niece Sharika, she traveled from the southwest suburbs. She was there. But the individual that my daughter's mother, my ex-wife, was dealing with, a jealous individual that she met in a rehab from some part of Arkansas, he wasn't there. One thing about it, God knows what them friends done, and if the law don't get them, street justice catch up with them all. Watch who your friends is. I do my best to guard my 16 and 17-year-old daughters. They tell me just about everything. I try to teach them just about everything about individuals that call themselves their friends. Some of them down here call themselves my friends. Some of these so-called NAACP leaders. Some of these so-called black business people. When something happened in the town and their voice can't be heard, they call me. But when something happened to me and my 2 young daughters, they're nowhere around. But be careful who you call friends. You see, because friends caused the death of these 3 individuals. Friends caused the death of Shanquilla Robinson. Thank God her dad has people that's helping him try to get justice. I'm still seeking justice from the cradle to the grave. Rest in peace, my brother Johnny A. Ivy Jr., better known as Mr. Woogie. Rest in peace, Brian Lamont Johns, my oldest son, my oldest child. Rest in peace, Marisol, my ex-wife and my 2 youngest daughters' mother. God see it all. I do too. Marisol, that guy, he might be somewhere else doing some woman the same way he did you. But you reap what you sow. God ain't through with him. Peace, be still.